I always seem to make the same mistakes. Too quick to fall, too fast to push away, away. I miss the warmth of your touch and your embrace. No one ever made me feel so safe, so safe. Slow down, don't forget me now. I don't wanna fade out of your memory, your memory. Hold up, I know I had my doubts, but I want to fade back into your memory, your memory, your memory. I always seem to take the wrong turn, repeating history. When will I learn? I learn. I miss the way that you smile when you look at me. No one ever made me feel so free, so free. Slow down, don't forget me now. I don't wanna fade out of your memory, your memory.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for being here on an absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous Vancouver summer evening. We're in Lumberman's Arch Park, in the middle of Stanley Park, and you couldn't get one of the more iconic locations in this city to hold this incredible celebration of life for three spectacular individuals. And my name is Tyson Villeneuve. I'm going to be your host for the evening. We have an incredible next couple of hours for you that will be filled with both joy and hopefully some amazing moments to remember three incredible human beings. And as soon as the helicopter goes by, and there's lots of them, so please, just bear with us, because this is a public park, and there are a lot of great people that are going to be floating in and around. So please make them feel as welcome as Ryker, Alexey, and Megan would make them feel. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the first speaker who's going to be joining us this evening. And a little bit for you about Mr. Roy Henry Vickers. He's a very well-known sim-sham artist. He's been an artist for 45 years, a public speaker, an author, a strong environmentalist, and of course also Ryker's uncle. So please welcome to the stage, for both a blessing and a talk, Mr. Roy Henry Vickers.
First thing I want to do is say a big thank you to the good Lord, the giver of life, for all the life represented here this evening. I pay my respects to the Squamish people on whose land we share the love this evening. And I want to begin by doing a centering exercise that I always do. It's an exercise I learned from a wonderful teacher and speaker, Dr. Patrick Carnes. It's a spiritual exercise, but it doesn't belong to any religion. However, I use it religiously. So if you join me, I welcome you to, and I'm just going to go right into it. I look to the east where the sun rises, the direction of the teacher, and give thanks for the knowledge that's available to us all. And I ask that our eyes and our ears and our hearts be open to the lessons that are available to us during these moments we share together. We are all teachers. We're here to acknowledge three wonderful teachers. And take the lessons of the teacher and look to the south, the way of the healer. I ask that our hearts be open to our healing journey this evening. Keep in mind that it's love that always heals. The healer has work to do with the knowledge that we gain as students, the teachers that we become. And we take the healing and we help ourselves with that healing. And we are all related to each other in some way. Especially this evening, it's so obvious. And so the healing that we go through, we share with each other and all of those who surround us. I look to the west where the sun goes down and darkness comes to the world, and acknowledge it as the way of the visionary. We are all visionaries. We can all see with our eyes closed. And that's that eye of the visionary that I ask be made clear by the healing of the healer and the lessons of the teacher. We're here for three young people who had their vision and lived their vision. I looked to the north, the way of the warrior, and I ask that we who know our vision, we walk our healing, and we continue to learn the lessons of the teacher, be the leaders that we are meant to be in this world. We're here for 3 leaders. And it's obviously they led in a wonderful way. So as teachers and healers and visionaries and leaders, I ask that we be centered in this occasion. To support each other, to love each other, and to continue to respect 3 beautiful young people. I don't usually work with notes, but I felt that I might need them this evening. I have a few thoughts here that I've put down with regards to Ryker and Alexey and Megan. The first thing that came to mind when I was asked to share some thoughts is that like-minded people are attracted to each other. We like people because we see something in them that we would appreciate being part of our lives. And so we reach out and bring them into our lives in whichever way we can. Also, I reflected on the 4 faces of every human being. Male or female, whatever culture you come from, however you've learned in life, we all share the same 4 faces. We all began this life as babies, totally dependent on caregivers. And we're born with a character that's set in our DNA. However, we have a personality that is shaped by the love and care of those around us. And our whole time as babies is spent learning from those who love and care for us. And it seems like too soon we become youth. And as I'm taught, as youth, we have hurdles. We have hurdles that are set before us. Education, trying to find a way in life, and then preparing ourselves to enter that way. Whatever it is, the hurdle is set before us time after time after time as we're going through our youth. And eventually we come to our middle-aged years, and we realize that life can be a lot of fun, and we can make fun of ourselves in our seriousness about competing and achieving goals that are set before us, and we can begin to relax in ourselves. My nephew Ryker seemed like he entered middle age when he was a teenager. He was always ready to make fun of something or to laugh at himself or just tell a joke or just to be goofy and to show us that life can be so much fun if we just open ourselves to it. Eventually, we get to the place where I am now, and we become elders. And we realize the brevity of life. One of Ryker's friends yesterday was saying, well, I have a long time ahead of me yet. I don't have to make some of these decisions. And I didn't say anything justice at that time, but I will now. Our time is short. And if we can see something that it's in our hearts to achieve, then we best get at it and get it done. Just do it. And that leads me to something else a storyteller taught me. When we're working with each other, when we're helping, and my father-in-law was a great rugby coach, and his daughter Andrea, who is my wife, her and I went and took this course called Imagine 21, and it was given by a man by the name of Lou Tice. He was a professional coach, sports coach, and during one of his coaching sessions, he was making one of his young men get down and give him 150 push-ups for screwing up with something. And he didn't like it, but that's what he was taught. That was what was mentored to him. And it bothered him so much that he chose to go and find a group of psychologists and get them to help him to find a better way to coach. And he came up with something called Imagine 21. This was in the 20th century. So here we are in the 21st. And one of the things I learned from the course was something that Ryker mentored all of the time. When you're looking at someone and you can see their potential, if you can relate to them like they've already achieved the potential, if you can believe in them and who they can be, you will empower them to reach their potential and live in their potential. So I look at all of us here gathered this evening, and I see so many lives touched by three young people who were high on life. And I was continuously reminded through this whole experience that we have a choice every day, every moment, and that's to choose to be positive or choose to be negative about whatever it is that we're experiencing in. And our choice will make a massive difference in the experience. An immediate difference. If we choose to be positive, the whole feeling changes. And to me, that's what love is. That's what sharing the love is. When we love, we shed light. We are the light. We're here to share with each other the love we have for three people who shared their love and who affected all of us in one way or another. And to hear some of the stories and to see you all here this evening, it gives me a great hope in life with all that happens in this world, that there are people who are determined to make a difference for love. Forgot my notes. I showed these notes to my daughter, and she said, as he was growing up, he never waited or looked for excuses. He got up and did what he had to do, and he loved it. Love heals, love empowers, love creates beauty and helps us to see beauty. So I want to leave you with this haiku that's been with me for a while. Love is a whisper, a flowing river cleansing, giving strength of heart. God bless you all.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Mr. Roy Henry Vickers. For those of you that don't know, this evening is also being live cast online to all of the followers and friends of High on Life worldwide. And so, although it may seem a little bit of doubling down, I'm going to announce every time we're going to play a video, because there are also a lot of people that are going to be watching from home to see this. So coming up next, we have a very special video. It's a compilation from all of the families. Thank you.
Ryker, my son, life with you was nothing short of exhilarating. You blew into this world with a wahoo that held everyone captive. You were curious, fearless, playful, fast on your feet, mischievous, grinning ear to ear. You had energy plus. You were always full on. Give me more. What next? I can. I will. Watch me. Never fear. Totally fear. I'm fine, Mom. I've got this. Life is awesome, Mom. Don't worry. I'm okay. It's just a bit of blood, Mom. I won. I lost. I messed up. I'm going to make it right, Mom. I'm happy and in love, Mom. So much pride and so much joy, my incredible boy. So much laughter, so much eye rolling, so much what the hell were you thinking? You taught me patience on a grand scale. But in that patience was a proud acceptance of your creative and spontaneous sense of humor where nothing was off limits. Play a recorder with your nose, sing a song for the donut man, and just dance for the joy of it. You were kind and sensitive and loved wholeheartedly. You stood with the underdog, stepped in to protect. You could deflect an altercation, but still stand and defend your truth with strength and integrity. You were always pushing boundaries. You set goals and held yourself accountable. You knew what you wanted, driven by fierce passion. You could laser focus with such intensity and dig so deep that at times it didn't seem humanly possible. You always questioned why and dared to challenge the status quo. You stepped outside the box and felt totally at home. You opened doors and led the way for so many, an educator and a mentor. I'm proud of the man you became. Present in the moment, vulnerable and loving, so full of dreams and possibilities for the future. You lived every day high on life and were driven to share excitement and the awe of travel to encourage and inspire others. To get outside your comfort zone and discover that life isn't just what you learned at home or in school, but that there was this amazing world out there that teaches you to challenge yourself, question your beliefs, to open your heart, learn, reflect, and respect that life can be done differently and just as passionately and beautifully in so many wonderful ways. How blessed you were to have done this incredible journey with your brothers by your side. You loved Alexey and Parker, fought with them, made up with them, protected them, cursed them, and then loved them more. You were fiercely loyal right to the end. And son, how blessed I was to witness in you the greatest road trip. My God, it was an amazing one.
There's something weird about going on a road trip. The second you lock the door and you head out, you're in a different mindset. Everything you see is different. The way you perceive the world is a bit different. Even the most meaningless things can turn into a crazy story. Why can't life be like a road trip? Why can't we live in a state of mind where everything is fun and adventurous? And the world continually surprises us, and we let that happiness flow in. There's something powerful that allows you to release your tight grip on life and just relax. Staying present and enjoying everything that enters your experience. Taking in each moment separately and giving unlimited potential for each situation to flourish into a unique adventure. The funny thing is, sometimes it's something like getting a flat tire, or an unfortunate trip to the hospital, or getting completely lost in the middle of the night that makes the adventure special and unforgettable. Because after all, it isn't the destination you're seeking, it's the journey. And on that journey, you learn and you let go. You see and you feel things differently. And your mindset, your attitude, your actions are all driven by a place in your soul that is simple, young, happy, and free. You don't know where your decisions come from, yet they just feel right. Unlike important decisions back home, which require you to take in all the right information and critically make sure you're doing the right thing. While on a road trip, you detach from that process completely. The need to be perfect, the need to be right, the need to look or act a certain way, you just let go. And it's in this mindset that you are truly present and happy. Getting lost and finding yourself. Just something that a lot of people don't let themselves do. When they wake up one day, looking back on their life's memories in search of the things they can define themselves by, the moments where they felt truly alive and free. Don't let that be you. Create a life that lets you drop the stress and baggage you carry. Go on an adventure. You can always start with a road trip.
My name is Irina. I am Alexey's mother. I am so grateful to have had such a beautiful, kind and wise soul for almost 30 years close to me daily. I really appreciate this. I could not even imagine having a better son than Alexey was. He was a very unique, bright, strong and freedom-loving person. As a child, he was very curious and talented. He became very self-disciplined, hardworking as an adult. Alexey would always seek to learn new things and exploring everything the world has to offer. He spoke 5 languages, was dedicated to his physical fitness, practiced gymnastics, and mastered many things. He was an example for our whole family how to think positively, work hard, and do what you really love to do. Enjoy life to its fullest. For me personally, enjoying life to its fullest means every 5 minutes of my life I stop and remind myself exactly what I am doing. Am I doing something positive, useful, and meaningful that makes my life and the people lives around me better? People lives around me better. I ask myself, am I simply waste my time? Is what I am doing important? I remember that each minute of life will pass by, will never stop and never come back again. This is the way Alexey lived. Alexey has had such a big heart, full of love and inspiration for others. I think every human being has some mission, some purpose in life, something unique, some personal talent to deliver to this world, and it's really important to discover it for yourself.
My dear nephew, my dear Alexey, we became friends a long time ago when I arrived to Canada. You were 12, a smart and naughty kid. I decided to become a good example to you. So I changed my ways for you all those years ago. We used to go out together. We played tennis. We dove and swam in the pool. You became a better diver than me. We learned to ski together. You became a better skier. I remember I was trying to teach you to be a good man. Courageous, strong, and gracious. You became better than me, my dear Alexey. You grew up to the greatest human being I have ever met in my life. You became the best example to me and to so many around the world. You lived a bright and honorable life, inspiring millions to change their lives for the better, showing and telling them what is really important in this world. You even passed away honorably, trying to save the life of the woman you loved. I was and always will be so proud of you. Ryker, I wish I knew you better. Alexey, you had a friend who was as noble and faithful as you. A man who didn't have any doubts, any second thoughts in his doomed attempt to save the lives of the people he loved. I wish I had such a friend. My dear nephew, I learned a lot from you, but only now you are teaching me the greatest lesson, a very brutal one too. But now, I don't just believe, I don't just hope, I know that this is the most important lesson in my life. All my life, I've been pursuing material goals. I have wasted much of my life by reading worthless information, learning irrelative skills, and aiming non-important targets. Today, I would trade all my money for just one long, big hug with you, my dear Alexey. No efforts, skills, knowledge, or experience required. All my regrets, fears, grievances, my ego, and injured vanity, all of those things do not matter now. I want to shed all of those things to free up more space for love, to love you and my family, even more than I do now. To love my parents, my sister and her husband, my wife, and my little daughter Sophia. dear family, I love you so much. Please give me a hug, a big one, every time I see you. Thank you, my dear nephew, for this last and lasting lesson.
I was doing one single question that was rolling through my mind was, if I could live out my version of the perfect day every day, what would that day look like? Growing up, I really didn't know what I wanted to be, but the one thing I did know was that I would be some kind of storyteller. Good! A series of events led me to quit my job in the 9-to-5. I didn't know what I was doing, but I also didn't really care to figure it out right away. I had just booked this one-way ticket to Kathmandu, and from Kathmandu, I was in Thailand for a month. After that, I was in Indonesia for a month. I was behind the camera, I was doing some writing, so I was doing all the things that I loved. But what all these things were gonna add up to, at that time, I didn't know, I had no idea. I was just focused on doing something that I loved. When my trip was done, I knew I didn't want to work 9-to-5 anymore, but I had no money in the bank, I couldn't afford to do things. And it's tough when you're in that spot, when you're like, I know what I don't want, but I don't know what I do want. You know, where do you go with that? And the one thing that turned everything all around for me was making a vision board. And this whole time that I was making this thing, I ended up having 4 themes appear out of all these things that I had just cut out. And it was getting paid to travel the world. Alexey and I were working in Thailand for a little bit, and we came up with the idea of starting an Instagram account that was basically just a bucket list of all the places that we wanted to visit before we died. So we called it Before I Die, and people loved it. They were following it, they were super into it, and before we knew it, we had over 1 million followers on this account. And in many ways, growing this account was the start of being able to work with these luxury hotel industries, because now that we had this huge platform to provide exposure to these places, as well as the skill set of photography and writing, now we had this package deal. And at this point, we didn't realize that there was an entire industry behind this. Not only were they down to have us, our role was to go to these 5-star luxury properties and have the best possible time we could have and demonstrate to everyone how amazing these resort properties were. And that was our job. We had such a unique bird's eye view of the entire luxury 5-star industry that we could go to any one of these properties and say, you know what, here's what you're excelling at, here's what you could do a little bit better. But at the end of the day, even though we were traveling, we were still working. We were still providing value for these companies. But the difference is that it barely felt like work because we were doing exactly what it is we love to do. And it was basically fulfilling both this bucket list account as well as the vision board that I had made 3 years prior. They were all coming to fruition because we were doing what it was that we loved to do, following our intuition and our passions and just saying, you know what, we're not 100% sure where we're gonna end up with this, but at this point, it barely even matters because what we're doing right now is so epic. It's really scary when you quit your 9-to-5 for the first time, especially when you don't have a plan, you know? But when you're ready to learn and go off on your own, you realize and you feel for the first time how big the world is and how much there is out there. And it might be scary to leave the safety of the 9-to-5. There is a space for you in this world where you can do your own thing and you can fill this void with your own magic that is all yours, and there's no feeling like that. Yeah, it's fucking scary. It's intense, and you don't know what you're doing. There's ups and downs, but at the end of the day, there's just nothing like doing your own thing. I go by Mindy the Lion. I'm a social media consultant as well as an independent content creator, doing it all from behind my laptop.
All right, as you guys can see, 3 exceptionally amazing lives, very well lived. And there were also some exceptional people that did their best to try and get them back. And so on behalf of the families, I have a small note of appreciation to the rescue services that I'm going to read for you guys right now. Good evening. On behalf of the families of Ryker, Alexey, and Megan, we wish to thank the RCMP and Squamish Search and Rescue for conquering the challenges faced in locating and recovering our children from Shannon Falls. Words cannot express how much we hoped for, needed, their bodies recovered. In many respects, it was a selfish hope on our part, as it potentially endangered the lives of others. But nonetheless, we have so much appreciation for the risks the RCMP Emergency Response Team, RCMP Underwater Recovery Team, and RCMP Air Services Team accepted, and were so relieved it was a safe recovery for all involved. Corporal Sébastien Pirotte, we thank you and the entire 26-member team that you led in the recovery. We understood Constable Tim of the Underwater Recovery Team was lowered into the pool to recover them and subsequently was lifted out by RCMP Air Services. Squamish Search and Rescue assisted the RCMP with terrain guidance and equipment. To Mr. BJ Chute and your team, we thank you. And to Corporal Sasha Banks, our families extend our sincere appreciation for your heartfelt warmth and compassion you showed us throughout this tragic accident. We appreciated your efforts in dealing with the media. We thank you for your prompt responses and follow-up to all of our questions. In BC, there are 80 search and rescue associations comprised of over 2,500 volunteers who respond to over 1,600 incidents per year. These associations are represented by an organization called BC SARA. Their website, bcsara.com, and we encourage you to read about their mission and consider making a donation to them. With extreme gratitude to the RCMP and the Squamish SNR, we thank you. And now it is, well, I'd like to welcome to the stage a man who basically needs no introduction. Parker.
Those were some really good videos. I haven't seen those before, and it's sort of unfortunate that I have to speak after watching those for the first time, because it was tough. That hit home. That really hit home for me. When you're busy and occupied, it's, you know, you get over it. It's not so bad. But those were really good videos. So I want to thank Blake, Sam, Dan, the whole team out there for putting those together, and for Josh for everything that he's done. I'm not here to make it sadder than it already is. This is a celebration of life. Ryker, Alexey, Megan would smack me upside the head if they knew that I came here to make 1,000 people even sadder on today. So, where do I begin? It's really nice to see just how many people are here, how much support that these guys had. They would be really proud to see everybody here and showing that their love for them. I guess I want to, reiterate, I don't think this is even going to be an issue, but I kind of just thought I'd mention it, that, we're lucky to have such a beautiful venue for this event today. And I just, we got a good group of people here today, and I'd like to just make sure that everybody does their part and keeps it clean, make everybody's life easier. And that's what the guys would want anyways, so let's do that. Let's do our parts. So, Ryker, Alexey, Megan, 3 incredible people. Really, really incredible people. We started, I'll give you the footnotes. I'll keep it sort of short. We started doing this whole High on Life thing because we liked filming, doing fun things, and what we love to do, our passions. And granted, our passions when we were, in high school, when we started this, were a little bit less mature than they are now, or they have been in the last few years. I'll give you that. But our passion was to make videos, to film ourselves doing flips, doing fun things, and just whatever we could, and you know, learning new tricks, editing, and whatever that may be. Ryker used to say to me, you know, Peck. He would call me Peck. We all have nicknames, by the way. We all have multiple nicknames, by the way. So anyways, he'd say, Peck, what do you want to do? What do you really want to do? Like, what makes you happy? And he said that to all of us, and it was our job to put a list together. Make a list of everything that we really, truly want to do in life. Doesn't matter the cost. Doesn't matter the likelihood of it coming to fruition. Write it down. Make this list, because he's going to make it happen. And that was the kind of guy he was. And he was really good that way. You know, Alexey was the technical genius of the group. And until Josh came along to help out with all of our editing responsibilities, Alexey did everything. He had the cameras, he knew how to edit. He started editing in high school when we were 13, 14 years old, and kept it up until we no longer had time to travel and edit at the same time, and then we had to start reaching out to other people like Josh, who's damn good, by the way. And then after high school, he went into learning about search engine optimization, internet marketing. We started getting better cameras that do more things, and now all of a sudden we're making this really, really great content, and we're making it look damn good. And you know, initially that was what we wanted, is we make cool content. This is our thing. Originally, well, actually, and when Megan joined the group, actually, which was still pretty early stages of this High on Life thing, she was like the female brother to the team. We finally had a female influence that was very much needed, I might add. Also to settle Alexey down, because sometimes his ideas were pretty wild and creative, and sometimes we just needed that female influence to keep us on track a little bit. But originally YouTube was, for us, just a database of videos, content, things that we've done that we don't have to worry about ever losing. It's on the internet. You don't have to think about it. It'll just be there. You look it up, it's there. We can be 80, 90 years old, and you just type it into Google or YouTube or whatever. That was the thought at first. And then after traveling around for so long, and after, you know, this energy that we brought together, this like contagious attitude that we seemed to have, we started noticing that it was affecting and inspiring other people. And that was new to us at the time. It was just for us at first, really. And then once we started to see the impact that we had on others, it sort of changed our perception, changed the way we looked at what we were doing. It gave our job a new meaning. A lot of people have asked me in the past, you know, how do you guys stay friends for 16, 17 years? You went to school together, you lived together, you worked together, you started a company together, you traveled together. Like, how are you even still talking to each other? And our answer to that was, we've come too far. We've come too far to give it up. What we've built, this whole High on Life thing, is bigger than the three of us. It's bigger than just our friendship. And so you started noticing messages pouring in, comments on different platforms, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, that, you know, people who were maybe having a bad day at first, all of a sudden they watch our videos, they feel better. And so, you know, we didn't just get a couple of those, we got a lot of those. And it started to really sink into us that what we're doing and the way we're doing it is having a positive impact on people's lives. And that was really, really heartwarming to see. So all of a sudden now, this is our new mission. This is what we want to do. We've traveled, we've been around the world a couple of times. We know these places. We know what it's like to be traveling alone. We know what it's like to travel with a partner. We know what it's like when you don't have money but you want to travel, or your parents want you to go to school but you want to go traveling first and there's a bit of a conflict there. We've dealt with all these things. And so now we're teachers. And now we can share our experiences and our expertise with everybody else. And it felt good that we were able to help people. And in turn, they told us just how much that we helped them. And that sort of resonated really strongly with all of us. I didn't want to have to like take a look at my phone, but I knew I might get off track a little bit. Actually, you know what? That's about the end anyways. So what I want to say to you guys is that if there's one thing, and you might have even picked it up from the videos alone, like it's been on my mind, obviously, and it sure showed in those videos, but if there's one thing that the guys and Megan would want to say to you right now, if they had last words to you here, it would be this. What do you want to do? What do you love to do? Figure out exactly what that is and do it. Start putting things into place to follow your dreams, what you're passionate about. And stop waiting. Who knows how long life is? Like, nobody saw that coming, but regardless of whether you're going to live for another 5 days or another 50 years, 60 years, plan out how to make your dreams come true, how to do what you love to do, and start doing it now. Stop waiting. That's what they would say to you. It's really nice to see everybody here today. Thank you all.
Thanks, Parker. So, these guys didn't just have an amazing impact on everybody here, to Parker's point, they also had an incredible impact online. And not just for people who are aspiring to dream the way that they dream, but to other collaborators, professionals, colleagues, friends in and around the YouTube community, in and around the internet community, and they have also put together a video to show their respects.
I met Ryker in university 12 years ago, and a few years after graduating, I stumbled upon a video that he had posted with the rest of the High on Life crew, and suddenly I felt a little less alone in this world. Back in 2011, being a YouTuber was a very isolating career, and I only knew one other travel vlogger at the time. So that is when I met Alexey, and a few years after that, Megan. Fast forward many years, multiple trips to exotic destinations, and many great chats back in Vancouver. I knew that I had some of the most inspiring friends to share this social media journey with. I never once questioned their loyalty or friendship. Whenever I needed help, they helped me. Whenever I needed something, they were there. Social media only shows us a small glimpse of who a person is, and we try and put out what we think are the best versions of ourselves, but sometimes only those close to us know how much more there really is. Ryker, Alexey, and Megan were some of the kindest, most motivational, and caring people to have ever entered my life. And I know that I'll never forget the inspiration they gave me to work harder, be more creative, and to keep pursuing my dreams like they pursued theirs.
I've been thinking about this a lot. Every single day. Information you just don't expect to hear. You don't expect to hear this kind of news. Ryker, Alexey, Megan, all amazing people. Hearts of gold. I remember the first time we crossed paths was 5 years ago at an event called VidCon, a YouTube event in LA and in Anaheim, in California. You know, creators from all around the world come together. They meet each other for the first time a lot of times, and we met up and we hit it off right away. We had the same kind of energy, same passion to travel, same passion for life. That is what they lived and breathed that every single day, a passion for life. What I really remember is just every single time you were around them, they would want to make sure you have a smile on your face. They would want to make sure you're happy. And if you weren't happy, they would want to know why. And they would want to make you happy. They make me want to travel more now. They make me want to appreciate things more now. I think what's really important that we take away from all of this is to continue to live by their message, and that is to truly appreciate everything that this world has to offer. All three of them have encouraged so many people around the world to go out there and see new things and travel as much as they possibly can. And the more world that you see, the more you appreciate where you are. And through all the amazing videos that they've made over the years, they will continue to do that as more and more people out there will discover them. I wanted to give my condolences to everyone that is super close to them, especially my buddy Parker. I'll be out there one day soon. Do my best to help you out, buddy. And to all the families. We did a bunch of silly videos together. I wish we had done more, but I'm thankful to be able to have done that and to be able to have met them. I'll miss you guys. And so will a lot of others.
To the High on Life family, my name is Matt. I'm a member of Yes Theory, it's another YouTube channel. And I wanted to send a message on our behalf from the passing of Ryker, Alexey, and Megan. When I was a junior in college, my good friend from Vancouver introduced me to High on Life. They had just started, and what they were doing created this spark in me that I will never ever forget. Seeing a bunch of hilarious friends having such an amazing time together and traveling the world was the dream. From that spark, I met three people who are now my best friends, Amara, Thomas, and Darren, and we started a YouTube channel several years later and ended up doing something very similar where we traveled the world and got out of our comfort zone. We would not be living this life if it were not for that initial light that High on Life provided for us, and for me especially. So I just wanted to pay our respects, say thank you, and make sure everyone understands that these, as they probably do, these incredible human beings impacted so many people that they might have never known. Despite their short lives, they really, really, truly changed the world, and they will not be forgotten. Thank you all in Vancouver for paying your respects and sending so much love. So we couldn't make it to Vancouver, but we hope this message gets delivered. And yeah, sending our love.
The term High on Life means so many things to so many people. It's an attitude, a curiosity, a code, or a mindset. But at the end of the day, it was really just a force that brought so many people together from all around the world and created a family. Alexey, Mindy, and Ryker dedicated themselves to inspiring countless people to follow their passions, get outside their comfort zone, embrace every moment, and keep moving forward. But what was even more admirable was that they were obsessed with teaching people how. Educate, equip, and support. They wanted to give it all away. Over the past few years, we've always talked about this. A global classroom. A community that encouraged one another to live their best lives and supported each other every step of the way. And that's why we're here. We're at Shalom School in Kenya to help fulfill one of their many goals. We've officially opened the High on Life classroom. Ryker, Alexey, Mindy, we love you. You will always be with us. You showed so many people what we were capable of, that if we can, then we should. And we promise you that we will.
I changed the thing. I got that on. Buzz the donut. What was the even chorus there?
Donut man gonna buzz ya?
Yeah, the donut man gonna buzz ya. Donut man gonna buzz ya. The donut man gonna buzz ya. Give me the sugar. Give me the sweet. I need the donut. I want to rub 'em on my feet. Sounds kind of weird. I got a funny fetish, man. But if you forget to buzz the donut, man, I'm gonna be real mad at ya. Gonna be real mad at ya. Don't let me get mad. Give me the glad. Give me the donuts, or I will get sad. Donut man gonna buzz ya. Donut man gonna buzz ya.
Good job.
Thank you.
Holy, tell me you recorded that thing.
Yeah.
What does it feel like to be in the present? To be in the here and now, fully experiencing this moment. Free from any weight of the past or any anticipation of the future. Just free.
Free to realize that only you can control how you feel about anything. Free to see things for what they are. And free to give your time and energy to what really matters.
Accept the fact that everything that makes up your world is there because you attracted it with your own thoughts. Realize that you can control your thoughts and emotions.
There's no big secret. Just choose to think better feeling thoughts. Listen to your emotions and choose to feel good. You can decide to be in a place of attraction and abundance.
What do you want to do in your life? What makes you tick? What makes you feel awe?
Don't be misled into thinking that you're supposed to do anything. You are supposed to do only what you choose to do. The world is vast and full of possibilities.
Follow your bliss. Get out of your comfort zone. Stop looking for reasons why you can't and look for reasons why you can.
And if you can, you should.
Thank you again for the to the YouTube community for putting that together and all the videographers. And just so you know, that footage from Africa was literally 3 days ago. Incredible team internationally worked together to put that together for you guys today. And the international component doesn't stop there. We have a very special guest speaker coming up next. And for those of you who don't know, Colin O'Brady is a professional endurance athlete, speaker, and adventurer. He's a 3-time world record holder. In 2016, he broke the world record for the Explorer's Grand Slam by climbing the tallest mountain on each of the 7 continents, including Mount Everest, as well as completing expeditions to the North and South Poles in just 139 days. His story has been covered extensively across major global media outlets. With a TED Talk over 1 million views, Colin is a sought-after public speaker. And additionally, he's founded a nonprofit called Beyond 72, whose mission is to inspire young people and set their communities to dream big, set goals, and live active and healthy lives. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Colin O'Brady.
Hello. Well, I think it goes without saying, but Megan mentioned in her video that Megan, Alexey, and Ryker were all incredible storytellers. It was one of their great gifts to the world. What they shared with all of us through their videos, in person, is quite remarkable. And it is an amazing gift, storytelling, because their storytelling for them was them just living their best life and inspiring us to do our own. But what I find about their content is so unique is that it was without ego. They were just living, playing, laughing, but mostly encouraging others to do that with their lives. For those of you who've seen their video, What You Can Do in 365 Days, in the middle of the video, they actually tell you, stop watching our video and go live your best life. What YouTube creator does that? I would say that's one that actually believes the mission. So it is a huge honor, and I'm incredibly humbled to be invited here to share a little bit of my own story with you that I hope resonates with the values that they all 3 stood for. So my personal story begins about 10 years ago. I had just graduated from university with an economics degree. Growing up, I was relatively poor as a kid, didn't have a chance to travel, and most of my friends were going to jobs on Wall Street and things like that. But I had a wanderlust inside of me, and I wanted to travel. And although it was the less secure path, I took my life savings from a few summers painting houses, grabbed a backpack and a surfboard, and set off into the world with an adventure, very similar to what Mindy said when she started her journey, not knowing exactly where it would take me, certainly not the sure path in life and not the 9 to 5. But I set off on this amazing journey alone. I hitchhiked through New Zealand, surfed through Australia, went to Fiji, Hawaii, whatnot, and then one day I found myself on a rural beach in Thailand, watching a beautiful evening of a sun setting, fire dancers and amazement. And I decided to partake in the fun that night by jumping a flaming jump rope. And unfortunately, that night went terribly wrong for me. The rope wrapped around my legs, kerosene splattered my body and lit my body on fire into my neck. Kind of instinct took over, and with one last breath, an ounce of courage, I jumped into the ocean a few steps away to extinguish the flames, which ultimately saved my life. But then it was just darkness and silence. I awoke to behind myself, completely burned from the waist down, sitting in a tiny hospital that was probably smaller than the edge of this stage, wondering, what have I done? I blacked out again and woke up coming out of another surgery room in a makeshift ICU, and there was a cat running around my bed and across my chest, hammering home the fact that I was far from home and in a dire set of circumstances. It was a terrible moment for me, not just the physical pain, but the emotional pain of the doctors telling me, Colin, you will probably never walk again normally. But fortunately, there is a hero in this story, or a heroine, I should say. My wonderful mother flew to Thailand to be with me. And about 5 days into this ordeal, she came into my hospital room, resonating love and positivity. Now, I know now she was just as afraid as I was, pleading in the hallways with the doctors, hoping that they would give her some good news. But she never showed me that fear. Instead, she came into that hospital room every single day, loving me. And so I want to say, and when Ryker's uncle spoke about it at the very beginning, of the power of love to heal, which is one of the essences of this story. And I wanted to take a moment and turn to the person beside you. Because sometimes in these moments, in the mundane of the day-to-day, we forget to tell the people closest to us how much we love them. And so let's take a moment to embrace, look at the person beside of you, and tell them how much you love and care about them. I see lots of beautiful group hugs out there. It's amazing. I can feel it. It's infectious in the air. And I think that that's something that Megan, Alexey, and Ryker all knew was the power of positivity, the power to charge environments of people, communities, both in person and digitally. I can just feel that resonating through my body, the love and energy in this beautiful space that we've created here. So thank you for that. So the continuation of my story is my mom urging me to set a goal. My mother says to me, Colin, your life is not over. Set a goal. You can do something with your future. I said, Mom, I'm 22 years old. The doctors say I'll never walk again. My life as I know it is over. But she kept with me, loving me, persisting. And I closed my eyes one day and I said, you know what? I pictured myself racing a triathlon, which again was similar to what Ryker's uncle said to us, which was envisioning a person actually achieving their potential. And instead of my mother saying, maybe you should pick something more realistic, you actually can't walk, she looked at me and she said, great, that's your goal. 3 months more, we were in that Thai hospital, finally flew back to the United States, to Portland, Oregon, where I'm from, in a wheelchair, hadn't taken a single step. And the next morning, I was in my mother's kitchen. She grabbed a chair from the kitchen table and she placed it one step in front of my wheelchair. And she said, today, Colin, your goal is to get out of that wheelchair and take your very first step into that chair. I believe in you. I can see you achieving that triathlon, but this is your first step. And it took me 3 hours that day to work up the courage and positivity and strength to take that first step. But I got out of that wheelchair and took my first step into that chair. The next day, she moved the chair 3 steps away from me, and the next day, 10. Each day, I could take a few more steps until about a month later, I could shuffle across my house from side to side, jog a little bit down the street. I remember that day jogging felt like flying, but it was a far cry from racing a triathlon. And eventually, I wanted to, of course, get out of my parents' basement and move on with my life. And so I did take that job in finance and moved to Chicago and honored that goal by signing up for the Chicago Triathlon and joining a gym. And a year and a half after sitting in a Thai hospital being told I would never walk again, I approached the start line of the Chicago Triathlon, diving in, swimming a mile, riding my bike 25 miles, and running a 10K to the finish line. Crossing the finish line, I had done it. I had achieved my goal. But there was one more surprise in store for me that day, which was I hadn't just finished the race, I had actually won the entire Chicago Triathlon, placing first out of about 4,000 other people on the day. Thank you. I appreciate the applause, but I assure you, it wasn't about the achievement that was important. But in that moment, I reflected back on that moment in Thailand, wondering, what's the lesson here? There's certainly a lesson. And it's actually the exact same lesson that we heard in that last video, and one of the bedrock of what these people have been preaching to us through their videos and their content and through their love, which is we have the power inside of our own minds to shape our own futures. We have it in ourselves. We have reservoirs of untapped potential inside of us and can achieve amazing things when we chose in the darkest moments or in any moment to shift our mindset towards this positive outlook, which is what we just heard here and something that really hits home for me and the lesson I learned in that moment. And so with that lesson in tow, I did the most obvious thing, which is I quit my 9-to-5 job on Monday and tried to get sponsors in triathlon and ended up being a professional athlete for about 6 years, having my wanderlust lived out in 25 countries, racing 6 different continents. And then in the fall of 2014, I found myself on the summit of a mountain in Ecuador with a diamond ring in my pocket, asking my longtime girlfriend, Jenna, to marry me. And in that moment, as we were embarking on the next chapter of our lives, we asked ourselves again, similar to Ryker's message of writing down what Parker said, write down a list of what's going to make you happy. Write down a list of what you want to achieve. What are your values? We had an inflection point together, Jenna and I, on that mountaintop, and we thought about what was important to us. And one of the things is I wanted to continue to push my body, but I wanted to do it in a way that allowed me to share my story as broadly and widely as possible. I wanted to show to the world that you can set audacious goals and achieve them. So we dreamed up this idea to see if I could set the world record for something called the Explorers Grand Slam, which is to climb the tallest mountain on each of the 7 continents, as well as going to completing expeditions both the North and South Pole, with the larger mission of creating a movement, both digitally, social media, online, starting a nonprofit that inspired young people to get outside, move their bodies, and live active and healthy lives. Now, we knew how to do none of that. We had $0. We had 50 Instagram followers. We literally knew nothing. And that's the moment that they're speaking about when the mind starts going, I can't. I've never been to the Himalayas before. Why could I think I could climb Everest? I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it. How could I ever get there? But instead, in the same lessons, and the quote that I love so much for them is stop looking for reasons why you can't and start looking for reasons why you can. And if you can, you should. Those are beautiful words by them that I hadn't heard but resonate so strongly in this moment for me as I remember back on it. And that's exactly what Jenna and I did. We'd opened up our MacBook and we said, well, we'll at least have a MacBook we can Google. There's lots of information out there. How do you build a social media campaign? How do you start a nonprofit? How does one go about getting sponsors? It took us 2 years, but day by day by day, we chipped away at it. We failed, but we kept trying. And ultimately, after 2 years, we found the funding, support, started our nonprofit, and I embarked on this journey in the winter of 2016. The first stop was Antarctica, landing on the tiny frozen continent, the large frozen continent of Antarctica in a tiny plane, surrounded by ice, dropped off alone. So cold, minus 40 degrees, the average temperature. If you take a cup of boiling water, I threw it in the air. I have an image of me, that boiling water turns immediately into ice. and I was walking through that day by day by day to reach the South Pole. Of course, I'm not going to tell about this entire journey, but very quickly I went to the tallest point in Antarctica, South America, Africa, etc., until finally I found myself on my second to last expedition at the base of Mount Everest, staring up at the tallest mountain in the world. Mount Everest has base camp and 4 camps persistently higher until you go from the summit from Camp 4. I slowly, after a series of weeks, climbed myself up to Camp 4, was ready for the summit, and all of a sudden, a huge storm blew in. 50, 60 mile per hour winds, trapped in my tent, and I knew that my summit attempt was over. And so I climbed back down the mountain to recoup. Fueled by the passion to continue this, I got myself all the way back up to Camp 4, but again, I was afraid in that tent, knowing what could happen, and I started to think to myself those same thoughts in my mind. Maybe I can't. Maybe it was a good try. Maybe it was a solid attempt. So I grabbed my satellite phone in that moment of weakness, and I called home to Jenna. I said, what should I do? She said, close your eyes. Go inside your body and listen. You've prepared for this. Face your fears. You know you can do it. But if that's not enough, think of the community that you've collected. There are now hundreds of thousands of school kids across the country tuning in to watch this, and each one of them, each step you make it closer, you're inspiring them to reach their own dreams. And to me, when I think about that, I think about the wheel that Parker talked about. They just started putting out their best ideas into the world, and all of a sudden these YouTube comments started flooding in with people, you've changed my life. And hearing that made Parker and Ryker and Megan and Alexey want to keep putting more out into the world. This beautiful wheel of support and love and inspiration energy is the same thing that I felt in that exact moment, which was I was aiming to inspire these kids, but in the end, their support and love for me inspired me to continue on. And so through that night, I climbed, reaching the summit of Mount Everest, doing what I think Alexey would appreciate. As I got to the summit and I pulled out my phone and I took the very first Snapchat that's ever been taken on the summit of Mount Everest. I'm on the summit of Mount Everest, top of the world. Although Alexey probably wasn't smart enough and stuck with Instagram and not Snapchat since that platform tanked. But it was the most viewed Snapchat story in all of 2016, 22 million views. Just a little side note. Now there's 0 views. But in all seriousness, it was a beautiful way to share this story. And very similar to what they have done here, which is take their story and put it into the world, because you have no idea what seeds you're sowing in all the corners of the world. As we just saw there from Africa, inspiration from all around the world, from what started here of a group of loving friends following their bliss and following their passion. And so when I got back and I climbed one more mountain, I set 2 world records. But again, it's not about the accolades. It's about what's the purpose? What do I leave behind? And so I started asking a very simple question to all the people out there. In my terms, mountaineering terms, I asked the question, what's your Everest? But it's no different than what we just heard on the video, right? What do you want to do with your life? What makes you tick? What makes you feel awe? I carry this small little rock with me in my pocket every single day. It's a rock from the summit of Mount Everest. And for me, this rock is a reminder of the lessons I learned in that Thai hospital to keep pushing forwards. And as I set new goals and ultimately encounter new obstacles, this rock reminds me that even Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, can be broken down to its smallest component parts. A bunch of small rocks stacked on top of each other, many steps leading to the summit. And what Parker closed with is similar to what I want to close with, which is so much of a strong message that Ryker and Alexey and Megan all left with us, which is, what are you waiting for? Start today. However terms you want to put it. What's your Everest? My canvas is sports, but that's music, art, love, social media, relationships. It doesn't matter. Begin your life today, living it to the absolute fullest. There's no time to be wasted. And the last thing that I'll close with, on a little bit lighter of a note, will be this. If I had a magic button to put up my favorite image right now, it would be the image of Ryker in full body paint, tiger body paint. People know that one I'm talking about? Behind the DJ booth, smiling with a wry smile. And I would say, in their words, don't take it all too seriously. Lighten up. Play outside your comfort zone. It's up to you to choose growth. Thank you.
Thanks, Colin. And we're going to showcase to you guys now a beautiful, beautiful compilation video, and it's the last video of the evening. And it's going to be a great visual embodiment of everything that you guys have heard today on stage. So I give to you the High on Life compilation video, and right afterwards we're going to observe a minute of silence for our three friends. Thank you.
I could live out my version of the perfect day every day for the rest of my life. What would that day look like?
Champions were born today! Life is so good. Life is so good.
we are high on life. Like, our entity moves.
And people want to be around it too.
It's worth it. It's entirely worth it.
Here, there's none of that. It's just.
I like the impact we have on our friends' lives when they hang out with us and love us. And I can't hold my hand anymore. It's so heavy. Peace.
Thank you, guys. A truly amazing video for a truly amazing group of people who've inspired not only me, my friends, and a lot of other great people. So during their time, they've touched actually the lives of more people than even we are aware of here today. And it's going to continue to go. And that's an incredible legacy. And that's something that's going to keep moving forward. Well, there's definitely one other thing that I know that that these guys really loved. It's something that I also really love, which is a damn good time. And I can honestly say that there have been numerous times where we have high-fived and cheersed over a great live band. And there's a selection of great songs, and we've got a great live band. So please welcome Loaded to the stage.
But when the night is falling, you cannot concept of lying. FDA bankers applying, fake computers crashing, dialing, pouring while they're multiplying. Fashion shots with Beck and Nancy, Courtney Love, Marilyn Manson. Your outfits run to your mansions. Come around and kick your ass and don't let go. One dance left. Don't give up. Can't forget.
All right. Thank you.
Hey guys, please give it up for Loaded. And before we get into the next songs, I'd like to welcome to the stage Ryker's parents to say a few words.
We had a wonderful thank you speech for you, but we were told we only had a minute. So I literally had to tear it up and reconstruct it. I just want to say how incredibly grateful we are for each and every one of you to be here to share this evening with all of us, with Alexey's parents and family, with Megan's parents and family. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We want to acknowledge our High on Life boys who have become our family. You have been the rock for us in these past weeks. Your love and support has been unbelievably, tremendously fabulous. And it's really helped us to get through these days. Thank you. I just want to acknowledge all the people that came together to make this evening possible. I want to thank Tyson as our MC, our speakers, Roy and Colin. Thank you for your inspiration. And to the many Vancouver businesses that stepped up with equipment, knowledge, people power, because you cared to be here. Thank you for the many volunteers that gave their time and their helping hands, because you are really incredible people. And especially thanks to Ben. Where is Ben? Ben, who was the mastermind for this evening. Ben, our deepest gratitude for all that you've done. Thank you.
So, there's not much I can add to what Charlene said, but I do want to express just how much we all appreciate the love and support that every one of you have given us through this tragic tragedy that we've experienced. And the welcoming and the love and the support has just been phenomenal. So what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about was just from the parents. So from Autumn and from Gord, and from Irina and Andre and Charlene and myself, we send to each and every one of you so much love and appreciation for everything that you have done for us, for making today happen, and to making today happen so flawlessly, particularly to the High on Life crew and all the supporters that helped with this. To the High on Life crew in particular, you gentlemen are a force to be reckoned with. It just blows our mind how much you have given us and how strong you have been. Because we know that the tragedy that we're experiencing is a similar tragedy that you're experiencing. And yet you guys have been unwavering for all of us, all the parents. So I'd say you're a force that is to be reckoned with, a force that is all about relationships, believing in self, definitely living life fully, and supporting each other unconditionally. It's unbelievable how beautiful that is for us. And we all want to thank you for honoring our children, for Ryker, Alexey, and Megan. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. All right, now we can get Loaded back on stage. Thank you so much. There are a couple great songs that are, the families and the friends have selected. Obviously, you just heard the first one. There are 2 more left, and then from then we're gonna just all give each other hugs and listen to DJ playlist. So thank you again so much for being here, and enjoy these next couple tracks.
And I'll be at your side forevermore. Know your love keeps on lifting higher, higher and higher. I said your love keeps on lifting higher and higher. Now I was downhearted. Disappointment was my closest friend, but you came at me, soon departed, and he never showed his face again. That's why your love keeps on lifting higher, higher and higher. I said your love keeps I'm so glad I finally found you. Yes, that one in a million girls. Now it's my loving arms around you. I can stand up and face the world. Let me tell you, little love keeps on lifting.
Thank you. Good dancing over there. Good dancing.
When you're on a holiday, you can find the words to say, all the things that come to you, and I wanna feel that too. On an island in the sun, we'll be playing in heaven. to the zone. On an island in the sun, we'll be playing and having fun. And it makes me feel so fine, I can't control my brain. We'll run away together, we'll spend some time forever. We'll never feel bad anymore. Hip, hip. Hip, hip. On an island in the sun, we'll be playing and having fun. And it makes me feel so fine, I can't control my brain. We'll run away together, we'll spend some time forever. We'll never feel bad anymore. Hip, hip. 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 Thank you, guys.